Meeting to order. If everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, we're waiting for the report.
Okay. Bear with us. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Costa?
Present.
Trustee Caprio?
Present.
Trustee Rogers?
Present.
Trustee Suisse?
Present.
Trustee Troisky?
Present.
Trustee Burien?
Present.
Mayor Yukich?
Present. Okay. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor. I would like to move legislation and action item J16, which is a considered approval of golf management agreement, up to the first item in the legislation.
Do I have a second?
Oh, second.
Did you say remove or move up?
Move up. Move up
Up to
16
number
to 1. Should we do a roll call or? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. Is there anything else that we need to amend the agenda?
Well, yes, Mayor, I don't know if I should wait until we get to old business, but I wanted to bring up the bond issue under old business, but that's probably for the next meeting. So I don't know if I have to address it now or when we get to K.
Yeah, you can bring it up under old business.
Okay.
You're not looking to make a motion just to
No.
discuss it, right?
Right,
Yeah, old business, that'll be fine.
thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes of March 25th, 2015 Village Board meeting?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of April 23rd, 2015 Special Village Board meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Schedule of accounts payable. Is there a motion to approve the accounts payable for the period of August 24th through May 28th, 2015?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Troisky?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Burien?
Aye.
Okay, this part of it is reports and communications from the mayor and other officers. I guess I'll start out. There's going to be a few upcoming ribbon cutting ceremonies. Everyone's invited to the Eco Dental's ribbon ceremony on Friday, May 29th at 11:30 a.m. Eco Dental is located in the Blueberry Hill Shopping Plaza. Also, there will be a second ribbon cutting that day at noon for the new Verizon store, which is located in the Jewel Shopping Center. Both Eco Dental and Verizon store, Front Bell Road. And we want to thank both these businesses for choosing to open up in the village of Homer Glen. Next, the next Northern Will County Water Agency meeting will be meeting Monday, June 8th at 11 a.m. at the Village of Vermont. The agenda will be posted when it's received. Next, community meeting regarding the future Village Park property. I want to thank all the residents who attended the community meeting held last Wednesday night at Woodbine Golf Course. If you were unable to attend but would like to know what was said, you can view the video on the meeting on your YouTube or go directly to the village's website and click on the Agendas and Minutes button on the village's homepage. When on the Agenda and Minutes page, you can find a media icon next to each village board meeting that has a video available for viewing. If you would still like to provide public comment regarding the future use of the village's park site, you can email your suggestions to village@homerglen.org. That's it for my report right now. We'll go to the trustees, and we'll start down with Trustee Caprio.
I'll be reporting on the Parade and Festival Committee tonight. Our Parade and Festival Committee and the Homer Fest is scheduled for the June 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th weekend. Flyers have been printed along with Magic Sky flyers for the fireworks night. I see some businesses posting them around already, and we got a great lineup of bands and food vendors, so please help us promote this event, and I hope you attend. We've been successful for 5 years now. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong with that number, but I'm pretty sure it's 5 years, and I've been on that committee for the past 5 years. So we hope you come out and support and enjoy our community festival.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Caprio. Trustee Suisse.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting for the Environment Committee, in honor of Arbor Day, a large silver maple was planted on May 19th in front of the Homer Junior High School. 7th and 8th grade science classes were on hand to experience instant shade transplanting the tree from Tierling Nursery to their location. The village's Earth Day Arbor Day event on May 16th was very successful despite the morning showers. Over 80 demonstrators and vendors participated, and positive feedback was received from parents as well as children, stating that not only was it a fun event, but it was also very educational. We would like to thank our sponsors for their support: Kono's Corn Maze, Meyer, Big R, Richards Building Supply, Nicor Gas, Energy Smart, Door to Door Organics, Savers, Dan Kenny Realty, New Way Disposal, and Willowbrook Ford. We would also like to thank the following groups for their assistance, because events like this would not be possible if they didn't come out to help. EMA, Will County Police Auxiliary, Homer Township Fire District, Instant Shade, Homer Township Chamber of Commerce, Homer Glen Junior Women's Club, Walter Kono, his family and employees, and all the individual volunteers that helped with setup, cleanup, and during the entire event. Thank you to the Environment Committee members, Cynthia Bratté, Randy Juris, Gary White, Bob Moses, Joe Therese, Kathy Cudlett, and Larry Witzel. Special thank yous to Margaret Sabo and to Sue Stylen, who is our staff liaison, for all the preparation and coordination for this event. One last item, please mark your calendars for the 2015 Stargazing event, which will take place on July 24th and October 23rd at the Trantina Farm. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Suisse. Trustee Rogers.
I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Trustee Costa.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to actually just add a few things from Trustee Caprio's report about our fest. Starting Monday, June 1st, we will be selling mega passes. That is a pass that's good for all 4 days of the event. You can obtain those passes at our Homer Highway Department. If you need any directions or any information about that, please call 708-301-0246. These mega passes are $45. They will sell those until Wednesday before the event. If you get them at the carnival, they are $55. So you can definitely save a nice amount of money, $10 on a 4-day pass. Also, just a reminder, Friday is Special Needs Day for our children in our community that have special needs. We will begin signing everybody up at 2 o'clock. The carnival will open from 2:30 until 4:30. We are actively looking for adult volunteers for that couple hours. Some of these kids need a little bit of assistance to get on and off the rides. They're going to be walking in grass. Getting on and off is a little bit of a challenge. If you have just a few hours that you can spare, it's a wonderful event. And the pay is to see 250 smiling faces. It's a wonderful thing. If a couple hours, it's all we're asking for. Adults would be really welcome for this. I'm actually going to go to Noel Myers Day tomorrow, which is an event that Orland Park has had for many, many years. Thank you to Cam Davis for setting that up for me. I'm going to be shadowing one of the event coordinators there and try to get some ideas for our future event for special needs. I believe last year they drew close to maybe 1,500 children with special needs. So we'd like to get a couple hints from them, see how we can make it better for our fest. So again, can't stress upon it enough, if you have a few hours Friday, please come out and help the kids. You will enjoy it tremendously. That is my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Costa. Trustee Troiki.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Trustee Berrien?
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Sawyer?
Yes, Mayor, I have the Treasurer's Report of Cash and Investments of April 30, 2015. It's the last month of fiscal 2015. It shows the general fund with a balance of $4,845,770.71. The special event fund with a balance of $54,501.55. The environmental fund with a balance of $31,686.41. The motor fuel tax fund had a balance of $2,216,680.27. Land acquisition fund had a balance of $1,023,141.89. The park and recreation fund had a balance of $2,356,742.51. Debt service had a balance of $811,730.73. Capital project fund, cash investment balance, $3,720,276.34. The EAB tree replacement fund had a balance of $478,107.20. And the CIP bond fund had a balance of $15,121,644.76 for a total cash and investment balance of $30,660,282.32. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, John. Are there any questions for John? Okay. Madam Clerk? Excuse me.
I'm good.
Village Attorney?
No report this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Any public officials? Village Manager?
Mayor and Board, very quickly, at your meeting on June 10th, staff is going to provide a workshop at the end of your meeting to kind of walk you through all of the wonderful additions and changes to our new website. For those in the public, the mayor was alluding to one of the upgrades for our new website here earlier, where you can go on the minutes page and actually read the minutes and also listen to the audio and see the visual from the village board meetings. But there's hundreds of new features and great things on the website. So I think Heather and Elena and Kathy, who've been working very hard on the website, are going to spend a half hour or so with you and go through the high points, do a little projection on the screen so that you have a real solid understanding of how you get to everything for the benefit of the public too. So that'll happen June 10th. Mayor, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, that's it for... Next is public comment. There's a 3-minute limit when you step up to the podium. If you could please give us your name and address. So the first one on the list is Richard Binion.
Good evening. I have a question. I see you've found a management company to run the golf course. Are they a local company? Are they a profitable management company? I mean, what's their track record? I don't know anything about them. I can't find a license in Illinois with that name. I can't find the information on this particular company.
We'll be discussing that as the first thing on the list.
Okay, can I hand this to you? Can you?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Binion, are you all set then, or? Okay.
I live by Central Park. Woodbine's on one side, my subdivision's on the other side. In passing, I meet mothers and kids and all that. There's not much there. It's township property. And we don't care whose property it is. Why can't the Village of Homer Glen invest in this? It's not going anywhere. It's in the middle of 2 nice subdivisions. I don't care who owns it, who's responsible for it. The kids don't care. The parents don't care, and it's just sitting there. It's a beautiful piece of land. And this is just pure politics, and I don't understand it. And I would like that explained to me.
Can I address this, Mr. Mayor?
Hi, I was a township trustee for 6 years, so at their last meeting, they did just approve new equipment for that park. The Central Park Story Park is all volunteers and donations.
I know
so
that.
Go ahead.
No, I understand that. There's, that park is such a nice piece of land. It really is a nice piece of land. It needs some pavilions and some picnic benches and a few grills. And that's not really a big investment. Even though that's Homer Township's control, that's in Homer Glen, and that's in my subdivision.
Right, I agree, and they did do a park plan for that. It was denied by the state. They asked for a grant.
But why can't we do it? Why can't we as citizens of Homer Glen do it? I mean, it's not going anywhere. It's for our children.
The township owns it. The village can't step over.
Give it to them. Improve it and give it, you know what I mean? Just improve it and let them have it. That's my point of view. I mean, I just don't understand this.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question?
You know, I mean, I think I got a valid point.
Go ahead.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Richard, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I
No,
have
that's fine. I'm done. It's just,
comment on
it's
that, and
frustrating.
actually, just a question. Would it be possible for us to look into having an intergovernmental agreement with the township to do something on the land? I mean, we don't own it, but can our
Exactly.
legal counsel look into that and at least see if
Yes.
legally we can do something?
Sir, it's a beautiful piece of
And
property.
it may
Honest to
help
God, it
each
is.
one of us.
If
Yeah.
the township and the village are inclined to have an intergovernmental agreement, then legally, that's not a problem. If that's exactly, that's a good example of the type of stuff that intergovernmental agreements are designed to accomplish. And I've done those in other communities between park districts and municipalities and school districts for the development of parkland.
But it is something that we would have to sit down with the township.
Right,
Just like
right.
Trustee Troiki said, we can't step on their
No,
boundaries.
I understand.
Changes.
And there's a clamor, there's this real drive for parks. We want parks. We need parks. The kids need parks. I'm getting older. I'd like a place to go sit in the shade. And this is just a beautiful piece of property that's primitive. It's a primitive piece of property that's just gorgeous in between two beautiful subdivisions. And I can't understand it. I don't care who owns it. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to the kids. This is a politician. This is political.
Well, this
So
is-
that, I
this
just
is
wanted to say my
boundaries is
piece.
what it is. It's not
I know, I
political,
wanted to
it's
say my
boundaries.
piece though, George.
All right, but,
Oh.
Mr. Benyon, we will look into that for you. And
Okay.
as for the Woodbine information, we'll give that to you as soon
Okay.
as this is set, rather than dragging it out.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Trustee Chorky, I'm having trouble with the microphones hearing. Could you reiterate what you said about the last township meeting?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
They voted at the last meeting to redo the park equipment at that park. They have to take it all down and then put new equipment up.
Thank you.
Okay, next speaker will be Tom Bernicki.
Good evening. I'm Tom Bernicki, and I live at 12527 Martingale Lane. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the Woodbine subdivision. First of all, after the last election, you stated that some of your trustees have very little experience, but they have a lot of heart. And at watching the video from the last meeting, when people were talking about the Woodbine golf course, park, whatever it's going to be, some of the trustees up there said that they haven't seen the numbers and they don't know what the numbers are. So I'm just going to kind of put this together as best as I can. I don't think Homer Glen should be bailing out the Ludwig family from their farm or from their golf course. And basically what it sounds like to me is we spent tax dollars that belong to us to buy the golf course. And now the village wants to say, here's your golf course, go run it and make $1 million a year and good luck. And the taxpayers get nothing for their investment. Okay, this is no different than if my wife and I paid 400 grand for our house and it was now worth 200 grand. You guys would not come up and say, Mr. Bernicki, we're going to buy your house and you and your wife can still live there as long as you cut the grass. And then we get to reap the benefits of selling the house later on when we sell it. There's bond money or cash money that's being used to purchase this property. There is principal payments and interest payments that have to be made. And I don't think anybody should make a profit off of that thing until we've been paid back our money, okay? I called 3 villages that have village golf courses, community golf courses. They profit from it. It's theirs. It's our golf course, guys. Okay? I'll tell you this. I propose to you today this. I'll run your golf course for you. I'll take the gross revenue, pay all the expenses, and one of those expenses will be repayment of the mortgage that you're buying this golf course with. I'll give you back the principal and the interest on the bonds or whatever you paid for it with. And then after that, I'd split the net profit with you guys. Don't give this golf course to some guy and say, here, go run it. Make your whatever it makes, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 a year, and we get nothing for it? We don't, I don't mean to be snide, okay? You had a business that went bankrupt. It would have been really sweet for you if Mokina came up and...
I didn't have a business
You
that went
did, you
bankrupt.
did.
You know what, stick
This
to
is-
what you're
this
talking
is
about,
public-
because
well,
you don't know
I'm
what I
making,
went
I'm
through.
telling you what the state of
No,
Illinois
you're
said.
guessing at what
Okay.
happened.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what
I did
happened.
not lose a business. Let's
Okay.
get that straight real quick. It
Your
was a
business-
venture into a building that was being rented out to people.
And if Mokina came in and used the taxpayers' dollars...
Stick to,
I'm
they did
doing
not
it.
use taxpayer dollars.
If Mokina came
Tom,
in and used the taxpayers'
talk
dollars to
about
buy that
Woodbine.
building and you continued to rent
Right.
it and make the profit, that would be wrong. It didn't happen to you. It shouldn't happen to us.
Exactly. Are
Okay?
you done?
Well, if my 3 minutes are off,
Yes,
let's
your
just
3
make
minutes
sure
are
everybody
up.
else just has 3 then.
Bob Schmidt?
I always like following it up to a conversation with a gentleman that obviously doesn't like us. All right?
Okay.
First of all, I want to thank all of you for being here, and especially all of you. It is important that you get your butt here every meeting so we can keep them people honest. Not that they would be dishonest, but let's make sure, all right? Two things, all right? One thing, there's a whole bunch in my heart sitting on this floor right now. Some of you already know that my wife and I, our pride and joy, has been sold. We are now retirees. Would you believe it? This way I can be a real pain in everybody's rear end like I've never been before. Unfortunately, and I don't mean to throw stones, but Wilgo has been synonymous with growth and movement. I don't know what to say without hurting people's feelings, but where it's going from here, I don't know. All right? I love my community. I love my friends. You are all family to me, and you always will be. Now, going around with the golf course. The only question that I have, I want that 9-hole course. I have said that before. What we do with the rest of the property is up to the engineers to make it profitable to hold the land. And for all of the residents. We pay a lot of money in real estate tax. God knows I'm in a townhome. And that's a lot of money, more than I ever paid on Parker Road. But I love it. I'm not going anywhere. But I want to make sure that everybody on this board and everyone in our town, ladies and gentlemen, we are different. And damn it, don't be afraid to let people know we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Next would be Rachel Chorley.
My name is Rachel Chorley. I live at 14005 Trails End Drive. I'm here tonight to address the park at Woodbine. I attended the meeting on May 20th under the impression that this was another attempt to gain input from the community regarding the desires for a park. Unfortunately, I quickly realized that this was not an informational meeting, meaning the administration was going to inform the residents what will happen at Woodbine. The tone of the meeting was disheartening. Scare tactics, outing people by name, and untruths is not the way to build positive relationships with the citizens of this village. The administration ran on a platform of listening to the people and transparency. So far, you have yet to fulfill your promise. By engaging in exchange during public comment, you lost control of the meeting. Public comment is for residents to have a safe opportunity to vocalize their opinions, their comments, and their ideas. And by engaging in a back and forth exchange, you limit a resident's ability to do so in a safe environment. That is not good government, and I urge you to revisit your policy. When my husband and I moved to this village in 2003, 1 month before my oldest was born, we were so proud to tell people that we live in Homer Glen. And I am still very proud to live in Homer Glen. Among our young 30-something circle of friends, it was known as the next up-and-coming village. Today, when I tell people we live here, people comment on our high water bills and our high taxes and the fact that we have nothing to show for them. When people ask me about my village, I give them a balanced view. I love this village. I am a member of this community. I volunteer in this community, but I cannot sell this community to a young family. If you want to talk about managing taxes, that's fine. But you need to do your part in bringing in business that give residents some tax relief so the village can get down to its business by providing for the needs of the community. When this village decided to incorporate in 2001, it gave itself an identity. We cannot be incorporated and try to pretend that we are not. The residents of this community deserve something. While Woodbine has been targeted as a park only for youth sports, I was happy to see a representative from Homer Seniors speak on behalf of those citizens who would greatly appreciate and benefit from a community center. The people of this community are begging for a facility such as this. We are not asking for a park district, nor are we asking for a $6 million swimming pool. Completely ignoring the wants and the needs of a significant representation of this community is not going to help you build trusting relationships. The development of this park is completely aligned with the 2005 Comprehensive Plan and 2013 Parks and Recreation Master Plan. Residents feel that maintaining this as a golf course is a stall tactic and that it will be sold as a golf course and that other property will be purchased, yet further delaying the creation of a park. It's clearly documented that while the trustees seated at the time voted for the purchase, there was another desired location. Developing land for a park along 159th Street corridor is an unsafe option. Trustees, I implore you to move forward with developing the Woodbine plan and stop stalling, and please do what's right for this village.
Thank you, Rachel. Lynn McGarry?
I'm going to save my time for this important issue.
Okay. Rose Reynolds?
Good evening. My name is Rose Reinders. I live at 14160 Sheffield Drive in Homer Glen. I own Taza Italian Ristorante. In December of 2004, I opened Trattoria Taza Italian Ristorante in Homer Glen. I invested $300,000 of my own money and secured a loan in the amount of $185,000 from Payless Bank and Trust. I had to secure the loan with my home and property. At first, business was good. The business was paying for itself. Then 2008 happened. No one was eating out. People were really counting their pennies. The landlord continually hit me with special assessments, and I got further and further behind. I could not pay my bills. Payless Bank failed, and First Midwest took over our loans. I was so stressed at that point that I suffered a stroke. I couldn't work for 3 months. My marriage was crumbling. First Midwest wasted no time in foreclosing on my home and my property. My attorney battled with First Midwest for 3 years. His argument being there was no equity in our home. They didn't hold the mortgage on it, and they would gain nothing by filing and forcing us to claim bankruptcy. They would not budge. In 2012, I lost everything I had worked for all my life. Not one person from this village offered to bail me out. Not one person from this village expressed any sorrow. So what did I do? I didn't blame this village for my misfortunes. I didn't accuse people of forcing me out of business. As a true businesswoman who realizes the pitfalls of owning your own business, I had no choice but to pull myself together, put my work clothes back on, and find another opportunity to move forward. So, Mr. Ludwig, if you accumulated $6.6 million in debt and this village came along through foreclosure and bailed you out of almost 4 million of it, I would be grateful. You were relieved of the remaining 2.6 million owed and did not have to file bankruptcy and lose everything. The taxpayers of this village owe you nothing. Granting you the opportunity to step foot on Woodbine is a slap in the face to every taxpayer in this village who suffered a loss or lost their home or business. You have continued to blame this village for the loss of your business when this village is who saved you from bankruptcy. Mayor Yukich and the trustees, please help me understand why you feel so obligated to the Ludwig family. This clearly is a conflict of interest in the eyes of the taxpayers of Homer Glen, who would respect you more if you had put this contract out to bid. We are well aware that it is your intention to keep Woodbine as a municipal owned golf course. As that is the case, you don't think this village is the one who should be promoting or profiting from the reopening of the course? As a business owner, I strongly object to handing over a piece of municipal property to the very person who lost it in the first place in return for absorbing the cost of cutting the grass. The Ludwigs stand to make a substantial profit off the backs of the tax-paying residents. If this village is now in the debt relief business, then please sign me up. I will gladly pay to have the grass cut on a municipal-owned property and recoup some of the money I lost through bankruptcy. To the newly elected trustees, this is not a game. You were elected to represent the best interest of all of the people in this village, not just one person. Do your research, get the facts, and stay true to your own opinion. Become a leader in the eyes of the residents and not a follower. Do not vote in favor of this contract.
Mary Ann Boson?
Well, I'm afraid Mary Ann Boson, 13810 Rock Bluff Way. Ooh, excuse me. I'm afraid I won't speak as well as the last two speakers spoke about Woodbine, but I also am not in favor of it. After all, I want to know if something happens, and it is our property, what happens? Who's going to pay the insurance? Who's going to take care of all the other things? Why isn't Homer Glen smart if it costs us $3,560 every month to cut the lawn? Why don't you invest that money in a riding lawnmower? And I'm sure there's maybe, Chris, you're from Homer Township, maybe originally, maybe they would be willing to do some of the cutting of that instead of hiring this lawn cutting machine, lawn care company. Who is it? Gee, I had it here, but I think I misplaced it. But that's another option. And as far as going for a golf course, I don't think we should be doing that. I'm very disgusted with the whole matter in regards to the golf course and in regards to the trustees who could not get the thoughts together and have the building started in January. After all, you had a good year in which we gave Ludwig that much time to fulfill his obligations. We did purchase this property in 2013. I think I'm right, George, 2013? And this is 2015, and we still haven't done a darn thing on the building. So I would strongly suggest you get the building done and not worry about the people who are going to come in and have a cocktail at this here place and maybe not be able to do anything because they really might want to have a banquet hall. Get going on the property and build it up. You're all trustees. You're voted in this time. Do right by the people. You might stay as a trustee. You don't do right, you're gone, like the other trustees who voted for Dunn Farm. Okay?
Jim Orban?
Thank you, Mayor. Jim Orban, 13801 South Teakwood Drive, here in Homer Glen. Obviously, I share the same thoughts as the previous speakers with regards to the parks. I'm totally in favor of parks expansion, and I'm totally against the Woodbine being used as a golf course. Tonight, everybody up here has got a job to do. You have a vote that's going to be coming up, and basically, you know, the campaign is over. It's time to govern. One of the things that I heard when I watched the meeting from last week was there was a lot of time constraints for our trustees that didn't get an opportunity to really do a lot of due diligence. And so I took the liberty of making a couple phone calls, and maybe I can help you guys out. First of all, I called the person that Mr. Dunn, who did the original bid for landscaping, Homer Glen. I asked him to send me the quote that he gave us. Just for the park cut over at Woodbine, it's $28,995. It's not $60,000. It's not $123,000 over 2 years or anything else like that. I made copies of this, and I'll be happy to put it in the record.
What's the name of the company?
You should know this. You're the mayor.
Diamond?
But yeah, I'll give that to you. Secondly, with respect to how this deal is shaped up, initially it was just, we're going to just do this for the year. Okay, we want someone to cut the grass for the year, and that's it. And we had to have a real quick solution because we wanted to get going on it. And okay, I get that. It was just going to be for 2015, and we want to alleviate this grass cutting thing and what have you. That's great. When the next meeting, when the mayor went ahead and extended it to 2016 to to the end of 2016 now, this changes the whole dynamics of the whole project here. The reason why you did that, or we're doing this, is to guarantee that the management company is going to make a profit, no matter who it was. Okay, fine. I run the numbers, and I did a spreadsheet I would be happy to share with you, and I made a few calls to some of our local golf operations that are successful and asked them for some numbers on how many golfers may come in, what kind of revenue would it be, that type of thing. The number I got here on a conservative basis through the end of 2016 is going to be $1.3 million in gross revenue for the management company. In return for saving us $30,000 a year in cutting the grass, I mean, come on. We're not, that's not a proper deal. I don't care what anybody says. And once again, I'll be happy to share the spreadsheets with you guys if you want to see that. Okay.
In response to what you
No,
said-
excuse me, Mayor. This is my time.
Okay.
I notice a pattern that you keep on interfering with people in public comment. I'm not a professional politician like you are. I'm just a citizen that wants to speak, and I'm thankful for my 3 minutes, and I'm running it to the end of it, I understand. Can I have an extension?
3 minutes.
Extension of 3 more minutes?
No, 3 minutes.
Okay, well, hear this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these questions that I have. And one thing that I'd like to do in closing, I would just like to have the clerk read the roll call of the vote authorizing the mayor to have the negotiation with any sort of golf management company on the meeting of April 29th.
Now, in response to your quote.
This is something for you guys to deliberate. I'm not.
I'm going to fill you in on it real quick. You made a phone call to a company that's not in business anymore. They haven't been in business for over a year now. The $28,000, if you read
That's
that
not
paper.
true. Mr. Mayor, that's not true. Don't confront me.
Here.
I'm a citizen.
You know what?
work
Now
for
it's
me.
my turn.
Well, you'll have plenty of time when you
Sit
deliberate.
down. No, I'm going to explain it right now.
Don't tell me. Hey, you can be courteous to me, sir. Here is the paper.
I'm in control of the meeting, not you. So sit down, and I'm going to explain to you real quick. You have a lot of misinformation here. Sit, I don't need you up at the podium. You have a lot of misinformation here.
Why would I want to listen to you?
You don't listen to anyone. You know what Have a good night. Have a good night, Mr. Orban. Mike Squide.
Thank you. Mike Sky, 14560 Renmore Road in Homer Glen. And I just hope you guys are getting the frustration and probably anger and people riled up, and there's a good reason for that. I think you guys are kind of perpetuating this misinformation, kind of, lack of commitment to this parks thing. A lot of us are pretty dedicated to this, and we just want to keep moving forward. Trustee Costa on the May 20th meeting said that it's important in construction phases to keep making steps forward and progressing. And I don't think that this vote coming up later is by extending it for another year and a half, 2 more seasons of golf, is going to get us there. The best reason I've heard that you guys have given me for this continuing on to the golf course is to basically get somebody to cut the grass. And I think that's just a preposterous kind of thing to base the decision to tie up the golf course for 2 more years for the sole purpose of cutting the grass to save, I don't know if it's $28,000 to $100,000, let's say, the money we're saving. The village budget came out about a month and a half ago. I think our village manager and our treasurer came out and said that this village is in rock stable financial shape. That's their words, not mine. Rock stable is what they used. I think the treasurer announced that we have $30 million positive balance in our funds. We have a 1% home rule sales tax that covers the bond money that we borrowed. So I think we are financially stable enough if we have the commitment to doing this park, which to be quite honest with you guys, I'm not seeing a commitment. We had the May 20th meeting where you guys invited us to come in with ideas about the parks, and basically what the gist of that was, we want the park, we want it now, we've waited long enough, it's been a year and a half. But all I heard there was a lot of obstruction, a lot of, no, a lot of, let's kick the can down the road and see what happens. And I just did not see any kind of commitment from you guys at all, not even a sign of it. So that's all I'm looking for, is just a commitment to this park, to the village hall. Purchasing this property was not a surprise. It was $3.3 million, I believe. The last administration, everybody voted for it. There were no hidden agenda of what we were using it for. It was for a village hall. It was for park. And, to kind of switch gears on that right now, it's just kind of deflating for us. And I think you're hearing a lot of frustration from everybody. So I look forward to the discussion. I hope the new trustees had a chance to wrap their minds around, kind of get involved and see what's going on. And I hope that you guys deliberate and discuss and be honest and open. I know I've seen Mayor Yukich in the past administration where when he was a trustee, he was a thorn in Mayor Daley's side, let's be honest. And you know what? That's good. That's great. We need people to question, to challenge, to openly discuss. And I look forward and hope that there's some more George Yukiches sitting next to George Yukich that we can discuss this whole thing and hammer it out. So that's all I have to say, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mike. In response to your mention that nothing is going on, we did try to get an engineering company in here for almost 8 months. We haven't had the property, when you're saying 2013, we bought it December 29th of 2013, so 2013 doesn't really count. We have a draft already set up for an engineer. This goes out next week. We're not messing around. We want to get this thing done. We've been trying to get this done. At least Trustee Costa and Trustee Sweets, because the rest of them weren't on this board before. But you still have to remember that we're in a position right now, this is basically their second meeting that they're in. This is, for myself and the other 2 trustees, it has been a little while, but that's what we fought for, is to make sure that what you did need and wanted, we could do for you. Can I make you a promise and say, yeah, we're gonna build this park, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that? Not until we find out exactly what the cost is. And no matter how many times I say it, it's thrown back at me, we have to find out where the money is coming from. What a lot of people don't understand is there's 2 things here. When you sit up here, you can do that, Mary Ann. When you bring up the park for what it's going to be doing, we do need to get it engineered first. We do need to know what problems we are having now, what we could have depending on how we do the park. So that's why we've got the draft set up. This will go out next week. They have to be in by June 24th, so that's at least out of the way. And from there, we hire the group that we want to hire for the village. If you want to be part of it, you're more than welcome to come here and hear everything about it. You want to have some input? I have no issue with that whatsoever. As for being, let me finish, and then we'll finish the rest of it, and then you can talk. All we're trying to do right now is right by this village. That's all we're trying to do. There's nothing in it for anybody up here that isn't in it for you. We're all working off the same page. Unfortunately, you do have a ton of misinformation here. What Mr. Orban was trying to talk about with the Diamond, this has been out of business. They're saying for $28,995, they will maintain the land and keep clean and debris free. They will mow all the land on the 1st, 10th, and 20th of each month, edging out all tree hedges and bushes. I should put my glasses on, it'd be a lot easier to read this. Keeping clean edges on all walkways, walking path, and parking lots. Edging all fenced areas backing up to the residences. Keeping parking lot weed-free. Picking up all garbage and debris in park mowing areas. Areas will be cut to specifications of Homer, Glen, and needs of park. Areas will be cut with a 72-inch wide cut and a 48-inch wide cut. I sat down with the guy that runs Woodbine's landscaping. His name's Ed. He told me that in 2013, it might have been 2012 because it was in 2013. They spent $32,000 in fuel to keep it maintained. How's he gonna do it for $28,000? Now you have to understand too, they're also cutting this thing as a golf course, so the tees they're cut a couple times, and there is a lot more work to it. But the cheapest bid that we had on just cutting the grass, strictly cutting the grass, was $60-some thousand. Now that had no weeding, no fertilizer, no trimming, basically nothing. They were gonna run them over back and forth on it. So it's a situation to where we do want it right. And why would we mess up something because the engineering is not done yet? If everything has to be in by the 24th, it gives us a couple weeks to pick everything. You could be August, September before you finally go out and you get an engineering firm. You get the engineering firm, hopefully they can get the property engineered this year. Then it kind of shoots it in the rear end right there because now winter's here. You can't do it when it's wintertime. What we're trying to do is find out what we can do for the flooding. That's our #1 issue right here. We want the parks. No one here has ever said we don't want the parks. We do want them. But we've had a lot of people come to us and saying, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. That's a wish list. It's not a needs list. Right now, we have to figure out, the whole thing here is, all I hear is nobody wants their taxes going up. I don't want my taxes going up. So we're trying to do this in stages to where we can get it done. Once it's engineered and then they finally get everything set, you gotta get a park planner in here. It's gonna take a little time. We have to go through the same motion. You put bids out and then you get them back in, you pick your park planner and you go with that. So we have an out on this. If it comes down to the point where any engineering needs to be done on the property and he's still under contract, he has to leave because the engineering is going to come first. And Mr. Ludwig does know that. And this is not a gift to him. If, with Mr. Orban just got done saying $1.2 million in profit, if he was making $1.2 million in profit and it's going to be a half a year, don't you think he'd still be open? If he's going to make that much money? The golf industry has lost a lot of business. Golf is not a necessity. It's a want that you want to go out there. It's a desire. Money got real tight. As you said, Rose, everyone got hurt. I don't care what you did. If you just worked for somebody, you still got hurt. You changed your insurance, they did something. Everybody lost money. Why is it so bad? And the question was brought up, why didn't we put it out to bid? We had 2 companies look at it. That's what they do. They maintain the golf courses. They manage it. One didn't want it because it wasn't, as they said, a premium golf course. They didn't think they would make enough to do it. Billy Casper came out and looked at it. They didn't want it. They gave us a bid to cut the grass and as a golf course. And I don't know what the bid was, so I'm not going to give you a figure. But it was well over $100,000. So we did go out and ask. But here's the other side of the coin, and this is what I wish that you would really understand. This whole board wants to get this thing going too. We don't want to have you pay for the cutting of the grass and make sure that it's secure. All the things that he will do for us right now. And give us time to work on the other stuff. This way, at least someone's paying for it, not you, not us. If he makes money, that's fine. The last contract he had from Mayor Daley was the exact same thing. We didn't get any money out of him. All he did is he had to maintain the course, and he had to maintain the interior of the building. Now he doesn't have an interior of the building. He's going to be working out of trailers outside. So we're going to get the building done. We'll have a meeting tomorrow with the architect again. We've already got it picked out how we're going to do the interior of the building, and we've cut a ton of money off of what was going to be spent by doing it. So we are doing our due diligence for you, and I understand that a lot of times you don't know what we do. It's because you're not at these meetings. You're not watching it on TV. You're not reading the newspapers. Everything that we do is out there for you. We're not trying to hide anything. I talked to one of the gentlemen that was at the meeting last Wednesday. He had a bunch of questions. He asked me, I answered him. I think that when we got done with the conversation, everything was a little bit better. I still know that everybody wants this, but when you say we want it now. That's like me going up to you and saying, I don't like your landscape, and change it now. I don't care if you have the money or not. I don't like it. I want it changed. You can't do that to people. And I don't want to tax anyone else any more than they're paying right now. Our water is high, our taxes are high, but not any higher than anyone that surrounds us. We have no municipal tax. You got to figure everything that you're paying is not going to the village. Not one penny is going to the village. So what are we supposed to build off of? So if you would please just give this board some time. Someone said that, we've been waiting for, well, the last one was 1.5 years. Well, you know what? There was someone else in the seat 1.5 years ago. Why wasn't anyone complaining at that time? We own the property. So all I'm trying to say, give us some time. We're not going to let you down. There's not one person on this board that's going to let you down. We're going to get what everyone's looking for, but it also is in due time. When you bring up some of these villages like Orland Park, they've been out there for a long time. Look at the car dealerships. Look at the income tax they have coming in. Look at the property tax. Look at the sales tax. And what a lot of people also don't understand, the sales tax, you might lose 50% of it this year, depending on what happens in the state of Illinois. We are solvent. We do have money. But just because we have it doesn't mean we have to spend it either. So what I'm trying to say is, for the last time, give us some time. We've been, I feel horrible for the trustees. I feel horrible that I even asked them in on this. Because how would you like it if you came in after 3 weeks and someone's beating you up because you aren't moving fast enough? How fast is fast? So with that, let's go back to the public comment. Let's finish this up. We can get to Woodbine so you can ask the questions and we'll answer your questions. But you know what? Everyone wants respect in this. But don't come up here throwing lies at us and throwing someone under the bus up here when it's not true. Because I'll tell you what, you tell me something about me that's not true, I'm going to stand right back up and tell you that's not right. And I can prove it. And all it takes is a phone call. My phone call's on every single solitary business card. You can go online. My phone number's on there. My cell number. So anyone in this place can call me anytime they want and they ask me any question. But I haven't had anyone call me and ask me questions except for one gentleman. So you're going to read what people are telling you. I'm in a position that I can do something about this. And so is this board. But you have to give us the opportunity. And I don't want to hear, I want it now. Because to me, that sounds like my child telling me something. He's not going to get it either.
Mayor, can I make one comment?
No, let's go on with the thing. Next speaker, Judy Orban.
Judy Orban, 13801 South Teakwood Drive. I'd like to revisit the discussions on saving money for the taxpayers. Mayor Yukich, you maintain that the village cannot and will not tender notice of early termination at Founder's Crossing. You say that we require an engineer's assurance that all the work at Woodbine would be finished completely by a certain date before you will tender the notice. And that decision, I guess this is another example of where things don't seem to make sense. That decision seems to not be based on any professional evaluation or other kind of information. It seems like it's your opinion. At least I haven't heard anything that supports that. We all know that businesses can and do operate while they're under construction safely. And it's been mentioned here before that McDonald's, Jewel, the library, these are a few of the examples. What is so special about Woodbine property that we can't do the same. We need to clearly understand what would be preventing us from moving in there, and then work to overcome those obstacles, see what can be done to make it a safe place to work in during the construction. So not just a statement that it can't be done, but what does it take to make it happen? And then the trustees can discuss what the pros and the cons are, what it would take to do it, how much it would cost. For example, partitioning the workout between different rooms, or perhaps moving cubicles. That's way cheaper than the $17,000 plus that we spend here a month in rent. And so I ask in the interest of saving a pretty significant amount of money, won't any of the trustees question this statement? Or where is the information that supports that statement? Everyone on the board seems ready to move quickly on saving us $2,000 on a cutting of grass. And I understand there's more than one cutting, but still, $17,000 plus a month in rent, that is a lot of money. So I'm looking for some due diligence on that and some supporting information, so that we can make the best decision for saving our village money. And skipping this entire discussion is not in the best interest of this village. I think most of us are pretty agreeable when things make sense, and there is a lot of misinformation going on. It's you know, it's kind of a he said, she said, they said, we said type of thing, and we get 3 minutes to talk up here, and the response gets to go on forever and ever, which I get that the village is going to have a position and you want to make things clear. Well, so do the residents. And, you know, we want to have some respect as well. We have information that we have, which we would like to have that information be respected. Going back to your comment, Mayor, on calling, anyone can call you anytime. My husband called your cell phone, and the voicemail box was not set up.
It's a brand-new phone from the village. I have not set it up. And he
Okay.
texted me, and I called him right back. So, you know what?
No,
you
now
understand.
you made a statement before that anyone can call you anytime.
can call me.
Your voicemail box wasn't, can't you set up your voicemail box? I mean, that was,
Can't he text me right afterwards?
well, I don't
Do you-
know. I
Ms.
mean,
Corbin, and I'm not going to argue with you. Do you know how many messages I get a day? About
None?
210 messages a day.
Okay. I don't know, you said you got
I
one
also
call.
own a business. I still will answer the phone, and I've called every single solitary person that has called me. They have gotten a phone call back.
Okay.
So, you know, if you want to bash me, why don't you just set up an appointment with me? You can come to my office and we'll
I'm
talk
only
about it.
presenting the other side of the argument. It
And-
is
and I will
not
give you
all
the
from your
opportunity.
perspective.
Then call me. My phone is.
Well, this is
and if-
public comment, so this is where I choose to air my comment.
Okay. Please. Deborah Bukowski?
Hi, I'm Deborah Bukowski at 14357 Glen Drive East, and I'm sorry, I don't know if I understand the difference with woodbine grass and regular grass. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm not a golfer. And I moved here April 20th, 1999, and until May 20th, 2015, I had never been in that building. So I don't really understand cutting grass. I'm sorry, but my point is, my opinion is that we have usable land. I don't understand why we can't have steamers and Chesdens come out, maybe have a small community event, have one of the local bands play for a couple hours, 6 to 8 in the evening, something in a reasonable time frame. The village and between the restaurants can probably generate some kind of revenue. I don't necessarily expect like yes or no's or anything like that tonight. But that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring up Woodbine. The other thing is when somebody mentioned earlier about an interagency agreement between Homer Township and Homer Glen. The federal government does that all the time. I know there's lots of information on the internet about setting up those agreements, and I'm bringing that up since it was brought up earlier. I stopped at Gorham Park on the way here. I'm a pretty short adult. Maybe with these shoes on, I might be 5'4". Gorham Park has 2 swings for babies. They have 1 swing for a child. Now, I'm sorry, when we grew up and we went to the park together with 2s and 3s, you would use your swings. And this swing, I stood next to it. I cannot get on the swing. I don't know how a 6-year-old child can. Lastly, the drainage ditch on 143rd. When that ditch was put in, I know it was a couple years ago, there were supposed to be trees installed. Those trees were never put in. And if you live along that bend over there, when you're out in front of your house with your children, everybody driving by sees you. They see your kids. They see who's riding bikes. They see what's in front of your house. They see what kind of vehicles you drive. It kind of feels like an invasion of privacy now.
And I do understand everything that you're saying. As for the trees that are being in the park, or by the retention,
Yes.
we can find out for you.
Thank you.
All right. As for the park, if there's an issue with the park, you have to understand something. Nobody watches that park 24/7. So if there's an issue to where the swing should be there or lowered down, because I agree with you, I'd probably have a hard time getting up there.
Exactly.
But if that's the case, make a phone call.
Well, I stopped, like I said, I stopped on the way here and looked at it.
But I mean, if you see something like that, call the township if it's township property, call the village if it's our property, and we will address it for you right away. It's that old saying, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. And if you don't tell me it's broken, I can't fix it.
I understand.
Okay.
Can I do both, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Richard Schroeder.
Well, this is a different subject. Thanks, Mayor and trustees, for the opportunity to speak. I didn't come prepared to speak, but I was asked to say something, so I will do the best I can, 3 minutes. Richard Schroeder, 15017 West 163rd Street. It's not Homer Glen, but it is Homer Township. But we're all involved in a future project that costs about, in today's dollars, $600 million. And in case anybody hasn't heard of it, it's the Bruce Road, Hayton Farm, Phase 1 transportation study, where there's a bridge that will be built on the Des Plaines River at Oak Street. It will be to move traffic from Crest Hill at Route 30 down Hayton Farm Road to Oak, across the river. Then on our side of the river, it'll come down Oak, transfer over to Bruce, and where we have a problem with it is near Gauger Road. Like I say, this is going to affect a lot of communities. It's going to affect Homer Township, where I live, Homer Glen, and Lockport. It's a lot of money to be spent there. And we've been working on this thing. I've been trying to deal with this thing for about 13 years. We got a 70-acre farm over there. A lot of people are saying I own every piece of property from there all the way to Gauger Road. Not true. The only interest I have is in our own farm. It's a 70-acre farm. The way they designed this section of the roadway, it will come from Bruce Road down on an angle north to 159th Street. I'm on 163rd. It'll cut our family farm in half on an angle. This is a limited access highway. If that happens, I lose all of my farm buildings, 2 homes that are there, machinery storage yard, everything I have that's developed for the farming purposes, and I can't get from one side of the farm to the other because it's a limited access highway. So this is going to have a major impact. This slices Homer Township in half on the diagonal. And we don't think that's the way to do it. There's a group of us that have been working on this. We've been trying to deal with the Will County Highway Department, Bruce Gould and Company. And if I can mention their names, Sharon Sweese is one who's very familiar with this. He's been working on this. Cam Davis, Mike Salamovich. With their permission, after the meeting, if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them. I think they would probably do the same thing. But the big thing here is we don't think that's the best way to do this. This thing is going to dump traffic at 159th and Cedar, which is already a pretty busy corner. The road coming through itself will intersect with 159th as a T. Any northbound traffic won't be able to go northbound. It can only go east or west. So this is another intersection that's going to be close to the one that they're working on right now at 159th and Cedar. And there have been a lot of other alternatives considered. Cedar Road was one of them, Gauger Road was another, and I-355 is another alternative. But to try to explain this whole thing in 3 minutes would almost be impossible. But to fast forward to the place that we're at now, we believe that a very good option, probably the best option, is I-355, because I-355 is already built. And it has sound attenuation, and it has over and underpasses. If they put this thing through, you're going to have stoplights at 163rd, you're going to have them at Division, you're going to have them at 159th over here. That's going to slow traffic down, it's not going to help things. So we feel the use of an existing road like I-355 is the best way to go. Now to cut across traffic with this middle route, or cut across the land with this middle route with traffic as they plan to do, and they're going to defend this position. We've talked to them for years, and they won't. County Highway Department does not want to back down on this, mainly because they said they spent planning money on it. So why should they change it? Well, if you spend money on something that isn't right, it doesn't make sense to spend more money for construction drawings, for construction, and installing it and maintaining it if it's a mistake. Now is the time to make a change on this thing. And by using I-355, we would save tens of millions of dollars other than cutting across new territory, taking out space that's already planned for home development. Contractors have annexation agreements with Lockport. So there's going to be some legal conflicts here. And Will County Highway doesn't want to, recognize all this. Anyway, on your agenda sheet, you've got item 14 down here. So if anybody's interested in this, you should be, because it's your tax dollars. It's $600 million of yours, and you can save a tremendous amount of it. Look at item 14. Talks about a special board meeting, the city of Lockport. That's at Central Square, and it's on Wednesday, June 17th at 7 p.m. I believe there will be a public comment period there. I intend to be there. I intend to present a paper on it and speak. And I would encourage anybody else to take a look at this thing and give their opinion, and let's use some common sense here. This isn't the only way to do this thing with this middle route. A bridge, we think, is a wonderful thing. It's going to help communities on the east side of the river and the west get traffic back and forth. But just bringing that stuff down and cutting Homer Township in half is not the way to go. So, like I say, I'll hang around after the meeting, and if Sharon wants to answer any questions, Cam Davis, Mike Salamovich, I think that would be good.
Thank you, Mr. Schroeder. And you'll get some questions thrown at you.
Yeah, okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Last person, John Coy.
John Coy, 12056 Venetian Way, Homer Glen. I wasn't going to talk about the park, but I hear, all I hear is complaints about the poor park. In '09, I started wondering why the village was so slow with things. With this bike walking trail, the Heroes Trail, and it was only one part, and it was from Yangus Park to Culver Park, which is 3 miles, and that's it. How long do you think it took for them to get through the whole process just with a bike or walking trail, whatever you want to call it? 4 years. Not 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I was so disgusted, and I couldn't do a thing about it. All I kept getting told was, you have to wait until this comes in. You have to wait. I've been out here 43 years. My kids, their track, and they could not play football because nobody had a football field out here when my kids went to school here 43 years ago. All right? My son still wound up with a full football scholarship, free ride, and he had offers from 17 different schools. So, I got no complaint. He learned how to play flag football before he learned how to play in high school tackle football. My daughter, she was on the basketball team, the girls' basketball team at the grammar school, but in high school she's transferred to the swim team. Okay, those fields were there. I started with 5 other guys from the subdivision, a 16-inch softball team. We had 2 fields out here, and every Little League team had to play at a school. It was the only place they could play, and they had to rent the space from the schools, the grammar schools. We had to bring them, pick them up, we had to do everything. We had to, I can give you a list, if anybody would like it, of the 7 guys and me that cut these fields so that we could play and our kids could play. You know, you gotta take time and it'll be done. It's just, it don't happen overnight, which I found out just with a bike trail, 4 years. I mean, yeah, but it's gonna take that long. If you like keep coming here and complaining, that's up to you. It isn't gonna be any faster that I know of. And I was in construction. All right, when I came for the last couple of weeks, I come down Bell Road. All this is manicured out here real nice, except for that eyesore down here, that vacant lot next to the bank in Pelican Harry's where the grass is about this high. I think when you have whoever cuts the grass out here in the parkway, maybe they could cut that to make it look a little bit better for the village. Well, other than that, well, there's a couple other things, but 2 of them are already taken care of, so. All right, thank you.
Thanks, John. That is it for public comment. Okay. Legislation. Okay. So following this is going to be the legislation and action items. First one on is going to be J16. This discussion about Woodbine. So I need a motion to approve the attached golf management agreement for the property known as Woodbine Golf Course, 14240 West 151st Street, between the Village of Homer Glen and Woodbine Management, LLC, until December 31st, 2016. That is not a hard date. All it is just a date that's thrown out there, and we'll explain it later. Do I have a motion?
I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Trustee Costa?
Going through this management agreement, I have 3 or 4 items I'd like clarification. I did pass these questions on to staff, and I believe the village attorney may have looked at them and have changed some of the wording, but I'd like to bring those up at this time. First, on page 1, the 3rd bullet point, it states Woodbine will provide the equipment necessary to operate the course, but is not responsible for replacing any fixtures. Example, water pump, sprinkler system, etc., that become inoperative. My concern about that is, since we do not know the system, we don't know how old it is, what it could cost. I've done some research on what golf courses do put in average on an existing course, what they put in for budgets for repairs. I don't believe that, first off, that the village should have to pay for anything that might be damaged or breaks in the course of this agreement. and I see that the gentleman, Mr. Ludwig, that's looking at this is saying that he's not responsible. So I do not believe we should be responsible here.
No, we're not.
Okay, so has the language been changed so
Right,
that...
well, the agreement specifies that the village is not responsible for replacing any of those fixtures as well.
Okay. So if something is broken or damaged, it will stay that way at no expense to us, and the golf course will have to continue running as it is.
Right.
Okay. My next question is page 2, J, looks like I or 1. It says that Woodbine should not have any access to portion of the clubhouse, including the restaurant, banquet facility, pro shop, collectively the clubhouse, except that the Woodbine should be allowed to store up to 25 golf carts in the basement of the clubhouse. This is a what I consider a debt storage area, which the village has plans to build out for archived files in the future. I think it's important that during the construction phase, that when we get to that point, that we have to have access to that area so we can continue with the build-out. That is going to be an important part of the build-out and moving, is that archived items will go there when we can, possibly before the move. That's one of them.
And it's been taken out as well.
Okay,
The
so-
storage of the golf carts. They can store golf carts, but on the property, but the privilege can be terminated by the village at its own discretion. So as soon as it's necessary to do work in the basement, then the village can direct them that they have to store the carts back in one of the outbuildings.
Okay, thank you. And then on page 3, under J, I'm saying 3 or J.
Right.
V8 of 8. Woodbine shall ensure that our golfers and other patrons have vacated the club by 7:30 p.m. on June 27, 2015, and by 7:30 p.m. on the last day of the Homerfest. I believe the intent of that was, as everybody knows, our Homerfest this year goes from June 25th to June 28th. Our fireworks are planned on the 25th, which is Thursday. If it rains or too windy, we cannot shoot them off. So that means our alternate date is the 26th. So I believe that should read that that we need it on the 25th, and if need be, the 26th and the 27th. Of course, we do not anticipate any rain 3 days in a row, but we have to make sure it's in language that that is our use for our fest, and there can't be any golfers there, not only from the time we shoot up the fireworks, but also the setup, which takes hours to set up. So that whole day that we shoot off, you can't be there, and if we need the next subsequent days, that also has to be there.
And the agreement's revised accordingly.
Okay, so that's going to be in writing that that is ours to use.
Right.
Okay. There were a couple other issues that as I was reading through them, I'm really concerned, I don't want to say concerned, but I want to make sure that the insurance is set up right. And as we read through this, it's been a policy, and I believe it's a law, that anybody uses property, and we go through this in the fest, since I'm part of the fest committee, the village is going to be additionally insured, and I believe it even says indemnified on anything that happens on the property during the course of the gentleman using it or any golfer. So the village, the way I read it, will be completely protected from any lawsuits against us?
Well, paragraph 5 has insurance language, and this is the same insurance language that we have.
Okay. And this satisfies our insurance company and legal counsel that it protects the village?
The same, it is the exact same insurance language that you have under the prior.
Okay. Okay. And I'm sure other trustees have some other questions, concerns about this. I just want to go on saying that, my intent, and I can't speak for every board member here, is to actively get an engineering group in there, start the planning of this park, and work on it as soon as we can. We don't know what's going to happen next year with weather, with whatever, but I do believe another trustee or possibly legal counsel, even the mayor, is going to bring up that there will be options to us next year that if we are ready to do some work on property, that we will exercise that right and move the park construction forward. In my mind, I'm thinking the first thing that's probably going to happen is going to be the flooding issue. We have to know what's going to happen there on the property to take care of flooding issues, to know what we can do or where we can put different amenities in the park. So I'm hoping other trustees bring that up. I believe there is language in there that we will be able to get in there and do engineering and other work and not wait until later.
At Trustee Rogers' recommendation, the agreement's going to be amended to include a clause that allows the village to terminate the contract at any time when it's necessary for the village to conduct its due diligence in connection with the stormwater engineering, or to undertake the construction remedial work that's necessary to alleviate the flooding.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
I just have a couple comments, if it's okay. From moving on from the public comment into the agreement, you know, we never guaranteed as a board that the management company would make a profit or not make a profit. We're not business consultants. I've said that before. We never said that Homer Glen wants to own a golf course. We've said that before. And just overall, I agree with Trustee Costa's viewpoints on the agreement. And as long as we know we have an open access to terminate the agreement at any time in 2016, if construction can progress, we would I believe, and I'm speaking on behalf of all of you, and you can disagree, I believe we'd all like to move forward. We would like it to be a village hall with a nice park with some of the amenities that the public has spoken of. There's a lot of work to be done from an engineering perspective. It's not ready, it's not move-in ready, it's not even close. So that's just my comments, and if Mr. Ludwig or whomever comes in agrees to those conditions, I have no problem with the agreement in place.
Do we have an updated agreement that we can see?
These are all the agreement that was in your packet was the agreement.
Mhm.
And I'm taking the agreement back and incorporating the changes
Okay.
that were discussed here.
Okay.
And then I'll have a red line version to you hopefully tomorrow.
Okay.
Was
And then
Mr.
if we vote on it tonight, it's with the conditions set forth.
Right.
Okay. Could I just ask a question? When we talk about a termination agreement or an addendum for a termination, using Carlo's term or Trustee Caprio's term, can you explain to me what that would be in maybe clearer terms of, give me the scenario in which we would be able to terminate?
Sure. So the engineering study is completed. You're going to approve or you're going to vote on an RFP or request for qualifications for the engineering firm to do the stormwater mitigation work. So that's done, and the recommendation is that you need to take over the 9th hole, the 18th hole, whatever it is, whatever the work has to be done.
Sure.
Okay, so you're ready to do that work, or you're ready to do, they say, we need to get on the property, do more comprehensive engineering studies. We can't do it just from a walkthrough. That gives you the right to terminate the contract.
Okay, so we're talking temporary access sorts of things?
Now, once you're ready to do the work, you can terminate the contract whenever you're ready to do the due diligence, or
Okay.
I hate the phrase due diligence, but to do the study.
Sure.
If it's necessary to close the golf course to do those engineering studies, then you have the right to do that.
To close the golf course permanently?
You can terminate the agreement, that's correct.
Okay. So, and I'm not an attorney, so maybe just if I could walk through a scenario?
Sure.
And you tell me how this would be covered. So we go to work on this, and I know we're already going to work on this, but we just put our heads together and we come up with a master parks plan for that
Right.
property over the next, and again, this is just, for argument's sake, over the next 6 or 8 months, right? We really go to work on this, we develop that plan. We take the community input, we figure out, here's what we like, here's some of the amenities, here's the budget, here's what we think we can afford. Maybe that's something that over 8-10 years for completion, But there is a phase, and so I guess I would use this as an example, because I think of all the amenities that have been discussed, this would probably be the most important to me, would be some sort of gathering place for the community. I think beyond everything else, ball fields, pool, anything else that's been mentioned, I think some sort of community concert, movie in the park venue, a community gathering place, okay? A band shell with an open lawn. Let's say that this year we were able to put together that master plan, agree, budget it out, and look at this in phases from a budgeting capacity. But we were able to entertain doing phase one, which may be a band shell with a lawn and probably need some parking to accommodate that and various other things. But we thought, you know what, we think we have the budget and we think we can break ground on phase one, for lack of a better term, next May. Under the terms of this agreement, we have the ability to terminate this contract.
Right, but just as a practical matter, from what I've gathered from all the conversations, is that the very first thing that's gonna happen, is that you're gonna do the study for the stormwater detention or retention to fix all the flooding. And that's gotta happen, just from what I've been told, that's gotta happen before you can get into the park, the whole issue about the park.
Sure.
So that's, that's a trigger right there. As soon as you're ready to do the study, if the engineer says, we need to have access to the entire golf course, to get in here and do this, it's gotta be uninterrupted access, you've got the right to terminate the agreement, they have to vacate the property. They say, we don't need to have access to the entire golf course to do the study, but we're going to need access to all or portion of the golf course when we start to do the actual work, you can terminate the contract next year. So the earliest instance is when you're doing the study on the property for the stormwater.
Okay.
Because you're gonna do all of that. I understand all the points about the amenities, but from what I've been told from day one is that stormwater detention is the number one thing that has to get addressed.
Sure.
And we can't, and I shouldn't say we, but you cannot look at any of the amenities in the park until after the stormwater issue is fixed.
And then you still have to have the park plan done too.
Right.
Sure.
Right. So your RFP tonight is for the stormwater detention. You have not hired an architect to design the park, landscape architect.
Of course.
Because the whole thing could change depending on what they have to do engineering wise.
Sure. So rough timeline on the water management.
We have to find an engineering company first to find out what we have to do. So the RFQ is going to go out next week. They have a deadline on the 24th of June to get them back to us. Then from there, part of the board and part of the staff will go through all the resumes, basically. Pick a company. Well, you're going to pick a few companies. Then it comes before the board. The board votes on it. We hire them. They go start doing the thing.
Okay.
So, and then as soon as they're done doing it, then we hire a company to do the engineering.
Well, they're going to do the engineering to do the construction.
Right, they'll do this construction.
Sure, and I understand that. I guess I'm looking for what is a rough timeline for that process? Is it 2 months? Is it 6 months?
Well,
and again, I'm talking rough timeline, not an exact. It's going to be done by September 30th.
Well, I'd say you're looking at 2 months at least just to get the papers in and for us to go through it.
Okay.
So that brings you into August already.
Okay.
Can I interject something?
Sure.
We've had some comments about how long it's taken us for the build out of Village Hall, and I'm going to answer part of your question with this. I was part of the task force that looked at the 22 RFQs and brought it down to X amount, and then down to interviews, and then back to the board. I will say that, if my memory serves me right, and I know it does, pretty much all 5 of them said, well, we get this thing going, we get paper, we get something down on paper, we get some preliminary plans together, we can be out to bid by January, we can have this thing start in February, we're going to have you in there sometime this year, late in the year. There's so many variables that come into that, though, and we found that out. And again, for many reasons, because you're looking at an existing facility to build out a building, just like we're using an existing facility for a park. I think there's going to be a lot of overlap between, we're going to probably get to a point, and Mike, you might help me out, or probably agree with this, being an engineer. Once we get to a point where we have a good plan from the engineers for the stormwater, we're going to have to get involved somebody with the parks, because now we need to know what that's going to do in the future, how it's going. So we're going to start one process and then overlap the next one into it. And they're going to have to work together at one point to move forward on the project. You're saying time-wise, being in construction 35 years, I will admit I was very optimistic when he said we're going to be building the building out by January, but I said, hey, I'm not an architect, I'm just a dumb pipe fitter. But honestly, I can conceivably see that there are going to be some preliminary plans sometime in the fall for the stormwater. There's going to take a lot of engineering. We have to go through drawings, look at everything that's there, look at the flooding problems. If we remember right, approximately 8 years ago, part of the situation was resolved. I believe I was on the township board at the time, so it's got to be at least 7 or 8 years ago. With using Yangas Park, there was some modifications on. We're going to have to incorporate all that engineering, everything that happened, and then work on the golf course and see what we can do to resolve more or all of the issues there. So I'm thinking probably mid-fall before we get some preliminary plans what's going to happen. And I believe at that time we're going to have to bring in landscape design and show them what we need to do. In the meantime, start having public hearings to see, this is what we can fit on there, let's phase this thing out. So, if we're ready to go by next spring, I'm being optimistic. I would love to do some stormwater management and in the actual construction. I think we'd be hard pressed. I'm being real honest with you. With permits and everything else, this is going to be quite involved. Again, we're dealing with existing conditions. We don't know what's under the ground there now for field tile and storm, underneath that ground. All of that's got to be analyzed and calculated in what we don't want to fix one problem, create another one. We've done that in the community over the years. We're going to have to look at, I think engineering, it's going to be a challenge for them to look at this problem and get it fixed right and not cause something downstream. That's my opinion. I'm not an engineer.
Sure, yeah. No, thank you.
Can I just add one more? I just want one more clarification on the termination. Is that an immediate 30-day, 60-day, 90-day? Do we know?
If the management company or the engineers come to us and say we need to do this now, because we don't know what we're going to find, pretty much like Trustee Costa just said, we have to find out what we have to do first.
Understood.
But then from there, if it has to be done right now, it's done now. If it's late in the season, they're not going to do it until the season breaks.
We just need to spell that out, I think, for the contract
30 days.
itself.
30
days.
30 days.
Yeah, fine.
Mayor, if I may ask a question?
Sure.
I apologize, but I'm not a golfer. I'm sorry. When does golf season end?
It never ends for
Thanksgiving.
true golfers.
When it snows. When the average Joe.
You're
gonna get 10 different answers.
Depending on the weather.
Okay.
Some of the public parks will stay open year-round. For the most part, after Thanksgiving, beginning of December, it depends on the weather. And then the courses are shut down.
So,
it's a very weather-dependent activity.
okay, did Mr. Ludwig okay this original agreement without the changes that were just made today?
It's my understanding that the changes that you've all discussed this evening have been reviewed
He knows
with
what they are,
Mr.
including the
Ludwig,
termination.
right, and he's amenable to them, yes.
So, if you're saying golf season ends in November, and we get all this going, and then by May 25th, we can terminate the contract, so he's okay with that?
If it is ready to go, if they're still engineering or they're doing some work on it that has nothing, that wouldn't be in the way of anything, then we use it until it's set. But, the whole idea here is to keep the golf course in good shape, cut all the grass. You got to figure, Mr. Ludwig being there, nothing's ever happened when he's been here. With it being vacant, a lot of the residents have called constantly that there's people on the golf course messing around. We're just trying to keep everything safe. We're trying to keep all the residents comfortable too. It's pretty dark out there at night, so.
With the timeline that's been presented, and again, I'm not an engineer, but I would suspect that you're going to be starting your stormwater detention work in the spring, as soon as the construction season starts. And that, as I mentioned earlier, my recommendation of you is as soon as you get the engineers, you get them hired, then I would turn to the RFQ for the landscape architects, because once they see the plans for the stormwater detention, then they can start on giving you proposals for how the rest of the property should be developed.
Thank you. Yeah, the language that, I proposed adding to it, the termination, was that if an engineer comes to us and says, I have to get on there, I gotta do this work, and I can't do it with golf balls flying at my head, then it's done.
Right.
If that's in May, that's in May. If that's in November, that's in November.
Right.
So the goal of this language that I'm proposing is that we do not hold up moving the park forward, and that's my understanding of what the verbiage is going to be.
It's almost exactly as you wrote it this afternoon.
Okay. I have a other question. I just want to look at page 3. I just need a clarification. We are not spending any Homer Glen money on getting him electric or water?
That's correct.
On, I forgot my glasses too. Oh, with regards to the golf carts, and the golf carts being in there, and I understand that, they'll move them out if we need them to move out, but
Right.
I would like clarification that that alarm will be added to that door so that we can continue to monitor that, because if we don't have an alarm there, if we have the alarm there and they jiggle it,
Right.
have an alarm.
It's gonna
so
have an alarm.
we're gonna move that alarm so that they don't have access to that part.
We will, we'll secure it. I
Yeah,
don't know if
secure.
it'll be an alarm or a lock.
Double
but
bolt
it'll be,
lock.
it'll be completely secure.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns?
I guess I guess my ultimate position on this and my concern, having spent a lot of time discussing this and thinking about this over the last couple of weeks, is kind of twofold. One, as I said, I think this village is in desperate need of that type of community space, and I think that should be, and it seems that we have agreement on this, that should be as soon as reasonably possible, right? I don't think we want to rush into something just to say we have something. I think we want to get it right. I've learned from personal experience, updating my home when I first moved in and put in the 79-cent laminate flooring, the cheapest I could find, and 3 years later I was taking it out because so I've learned from personal experience of do it right the first time and put the time in. So I think it's as soon as reasonably possible, and my main concern is when that time is right. I don't want a golf course, and I'm an avid golfer, but I don't want a golf course for any reason to hold that up for a single day. That's the priority. That's what this property was purchased for. Again, being repetitive, but that is, in my view, a top priority for this village, is that type of take a town and build it into a community with that type of amenity. And the ball fields and everything else, can be discussed and a master plan completed. So I'm not entirely comfortable not seeing the language of a potential termination agreement. I'm going to be voting on something that I kind of, I think, had an answer of if we're ready to go. I want to be able to be ready to go. And if we're not, ultimately, this is my view on the golf. This year sort of makes sense for me, right? To have someone come in, run a golf course, which we'll get to my second point, run a golf course, we save the maintenance fees, all that makes sense to me. If we had the option next year to, if we don't have our act together yet on this, and I don't mean that in any negative way, I just mean if we're not ready to sort of put some shovels in the ground and start on a phase one, well, then we give them the option of that second year of golf, and everybody's happy, and we continue with some of the engineering and the flood mitigation. But if we are ready to have that option to, okay, well, golf is done. Now, from a business perspective, I get it from Mr. Ludwig's perspective that probably doesn't make sense, a one-year agreement. And that's not necessarily my concern. I certainly sympathize with any business going through the recession we went through. So I guess secondly, well, before I get there, I've never met Mr. Ludwig. Is he here, or does he have a representative here?
He's not here.
Pardon me?
He's not here.
Okay. I guess my second concern would be, I am hesitant from a larger picture to have a village on government property in some ways subsidize a private business that is a direct competitor of a similar business in town. And that gives me pause. Again, I guess if I had the agreement in front of me and I saw the language, maybe I could understand the termination. I don't, and maybe this is just, me not understanding it, not being an attorney. It seems to me that, hey, if we need to get the engineers on the property and do some flood mitigation, and that's going to impact golf on a Friday morning from 8 to noon, that he's going to be willing to do that. And if he says no to that, well, then terminates the contract. I don't envision him saying no to that. But the other side of it is, and if we are ready, and maybe we wouldn't be, and that's what I'm admitting that maybe we wouldn't be ready, and that's where I'd like the option of he can maintain it, or he can run the golf course for another season. I just am not entirely comfortable not having that option up front where we could opt out after this year. Depending on where we're at. And if we're not, fantastic, he gets to run it again. This seems to be the other way, which again, I understand it from a business perspective, but at some point, I believe our role up here, it isn't to worry about Mr. Ludwig and whether he can make a profit, but again, in my view, the priority being a community park with the gathering place as soon as reasonably possible. And anything that gets in the way of that or slows that down, I wouldn't be supportive of. And it sounds like lots of these things and lots of my concerns, Trustee Costa already addressed satisfactory. I just have hesitation as it's currently written.
Like you said, you're going to vote your opinion. Is there any other comments?
Well, is there a way that we could vote on it contingent upon the final
Yes.
review of the final?
That's what we're doing in the
That's what he
first place.
said.
We're voting on a contingent to the changes that were
With the
addressed.
conditions.
So if it isn't done the way it's addressed, then the vote didn't go through. So,
Well, here's what we could do, is that you can approve it with the changes. I will make the changes tomorrow. I will either, in redline them, I will email them to the manager, Cam. Cam will email them to everybody. Everybody's got my phone number, so if you've got a question or a comment about any portion of the language, you have to call me tomorrow.
Sure.
Okay, because I'll be out of town Friday, like frankly. And the other thing is that, the longer this goes on, the less likely it is that you're gonna have any type of agreement, because it's just.
Right, we gotta do it
This is
expeditiously.
prime
Understood,
time.
yep,
Right.
yep. And I understand that portion, and that would address, I think, my first concern.
Sure.
So, yeah, I
Right,
understand.
okay, and then we'll
Yeah.
just, we'll just fix it till everyone's happy.
Madam Clerk, could you call the roll? What's the question, Ms. Orban?
I was just curious, you mentioned Old Oak, and so I just was curious as to if Old Oak was asked, if they would be interested in managing the property.
No. We did not ask Old Oak because they are already doing something. And the biggest reason we didn't try putting it out to bid is this could be a 6-month thing. This could be a 1.5 year thing. No one's going to want to spend the kind of money to do this without at least being able to pull some of it back. I know just to get the carts in, he had to guarantee a $150,000 contract with it. So the contract has to be fulfilled. So if he does, and it is only up to 2016, there is no extension on it, because we don't know where we're gonna be at. All we're trying to do is cover the time that we think it's going to be.
But wouldn't it be fair to ask them? I mean, they are a Homer Glen business.
Okay, and so is Mr. Ludwig, he lives in Homer Glen, and he knows the ins and outs of the course. This is a very temporary thing. And to ask them, then all we're doing is we're dragging it out longer. If you drag it out longer, nobody's gonna wanna do it, and then we just go back to square one, we pay the cutting. Simple as that.
They may have a better offer. What if they had an offer where they actually pay us money? I'm just throwing that out there. I mean,
And I can
they're
appreciate that.
They're another business in Homer Glen. It seems like they should have the opportunity as well.
It's a practical matter. Being a golfer, but not a very good golfer, is they'd have to go out and buy all the equipment that's necessary to cut and maintain the property that the Ludwigs already have.
I guess the point is asking them if they're interested. We're just making an assumption that there's no way they would want to do it.
Okay. All right. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Trojke?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Barrion?
No.
Okay, motion carries. Next on the agenda will be item number J1. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 15-083, an ordinance authorizing an approval of special use permit for outdoor seating associated with a permitted restaurant for the property commonly known as La Crepe Bistro, located at 13957 South Bell Road, Homer Glen, Illinois. La Crepe Company doing business as La Crepe Bistro.
So moved.
15-02.
Second.
1503. Is there any discussion?
Mayor, I just want to point out, I know you always like to know when business owners are in the audience, so our owner's right in the very back row. If you have never met her, they're doing great work at this restaurant, so just want to introduce her.
It's a beautiful restaurant, too.
And the food's very good. Okay, is there any other discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Barrion?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Trojke?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 2, appointments to committees. Is there a motion to approve the mayor's appointments to the Plan Commission, Environment Committee, Homer Harvest Days, Parade and Festival Committee, and the Public Service and Safety Committee? It is understood that all appointments are for the period of 1 year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, I do have something to say on it. There are still openings on committees, so if anyone is interested in stepping up, we'd be more than happy to talk to you and see what you'd be interested in. With that, Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Trojke?
Aye.
Trustee Barrion?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Third, appointments to EMA. Is there a motion to approve the mayor's emergency management agency appointments of Coordinator John Robinson and agency members Dan Guinta, Amal Centers, Larry Conrad, David Kravickas, Bill Lionhood, Jim Riley, Steve Spear, Jim Kinstead, and Adrian Byrne. It is understood that all of the emergency management agency appointments are for the period of 1 year.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Barrion?
Aye.
Trustee Trojke?
Aye.
Okay. Number 4, changing the board meeting time. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 15-024, an ordinance amending section 1 of Exhibit A of ordinance number 10-001, entitled an ordinance establishing rules for the conduct of the village board meetings in the village of Homer Glen, Will County, Illinois. It is understood that with the approval of this ordinance, the village board will be changing their start time of the regular meetings from 7:30 PM to 7 PM starting June 10th, 2015.
I so move.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Barrian?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Okay. Number 5, organizational chart. Is there a motion to approve the revised Village of Homer Glen organizational chart?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Barrian?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Affordable housing plan. Is there a motion to approve resolution number 15-006, a resolution approving an affordable housing plan for the Village of Homer Glen and submittal to the state of Illinois?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
And then, Joe, you're gonna
Yeah,
report on this?
Just briefly, I had put up on the dais prior to the meeting a couple minor changes that occurred since you had gotten your packet. On page 3, I made 2 references to the calculations and how those numbers came about underneath the chart there on page 3.
I'm sorry, Joe, I can barely hear you.
I'm sorry. On page 3, there were some changes that I added from what was in your original packet. Also, I just wanted to mention that this plan was mandated by the state of Illinois. We received this in 2013. It is a plan. It shows the numbers that we need to reach the goal that is requested by the Illinois Affordable Housing Planning Act. It does not mandate that we approve any particular projects or give any specific requirements to applicants for these projects. What it is, just a plan that's required to be submitted to the state of Illinois.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Joe? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Barrian?
Aye.
Okay. Number 8, Hickory Creek Watershed Planning Group contribution. Is there a motion to approve the...
Number 7.
Number 7. No. Is there a motion to approve the Chicago Metropolitan Agencies for Planning fiscal year 2015 local contribution request of $231.86?
I so move.
I second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Barrian?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 8, Hickory Creek Watershed Planning Group contribution. Is there a motion to approve the Village of Homer Glen's contribution to the Hickory Creek Watershed Planning Group's annual membership fee for the year of 2015 through 2016 in the amount of $5,000? It is understood that the HCWPG's fiscal year runs from July 1st to June 30th.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a quick question. I would like to, we rejoined, or we've been paying the dues for a while now, and I would like this group to, the members, I wish they would give us some updates as to, or reports to the village as far as what they're accomplishing or what's happening.
Right, so Mike Selamovich, Director Selamovich, attends these meetings regularly.
Oh,
So
okay.
what we're gonna do is we're going to, from now on, when he attends, when he comes back from that
Like a
meeting,
mini
we're gonna
report?
put something in my weekly report, just to keep you posted. And if there's handouts that we feel are gonna be beneficial, then we'll include those too.
Just a summary.
Yeah, summary, short.
And can you also maybe let us know ahead of time in case Environment Committee members would like to join Mike?
We'll put them on the calendar in my report.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Barrian?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 9, lease agreement for EMA Garage. Is there a motion to approve the attached two-year lease agreement with Peterson Properties for 15757 Anico Drive, Unit Number 3, Homer Glen, Illinois? It is understood that the village will pay $2,250 a month from June 1st, 2015 through May 31st, 2017.
So
I
moved.
Trustee Costa has made the motion.
I second.
Trustee Suisse. Is there any discussion? Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Caprio.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Barry.
Aye.
Number 10, Williams invoice for the architects. Is there a motion to approve Williams Architect Professional Architectural Services invoice for March 2015 in the amount of $4,950.62?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Barry.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Trustee Caprio.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 11, Village Code invoice. Is there a motion to approve the attached invoice from General Code in the amount of $3,057 for the draft of the code of the Village of Homer Glen? And what this is for, if you don't understand the code on it, it's for the codification of all the ordinances.
I so move.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion?
Mayor, I just want to mention, I know the Administration and Finance Committee talked about this at great length and has been kept abreast of all this activity, but for the general board's benefit and the community's benefit, the village attorney and myself have a copy of the final draft, and we're going through it. It's this thick, so it takes a little bit of time to go through it, but we're diligently doing that, and then we will get back with the codification company. So one of the great things about the new website is when the code is done, we will have a village code online, and it will be searchable. If you want to know how high fences can be, you can put in the word fence, and it'll go right to sections of the code that deal with fence. We've never had that opportunity here. It'll be very beneficial to the residents of the community and obviously to staff and to the board too. So we're working quickly to get that done.
And it'll make it easier for anyone in the village to be able to understand what the ordinance is. You don't have to look all over anymore.
Very good.
Number 12, H.R. Green. Oh, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Caprio.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Barry.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now number 12, H.R. Green to prepare drainage easements for Army Corps permit. Is there a motion to authorize H.R. Green to prepare temporary construction easements and permanent drainage easements for 12507 and 12513 Mackinac Road, and prepare and submit a permit application to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for a wetland permit in the amount of $5,450. As part of Phase 3 of the ongoing 2014 Drainage Improvement Program, it is understood that due to time constraints to avoid a delay of the project, as a result of the long lead associated with the USA COE permit reviews, the permit application for the USA COE permit has already been prepared and submitted, and the permit has now been issued. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Barry.
Aye.
Trustee Caprio.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 13, payment to state for 159th Street improvements. Is there a motion to approve payment to the state of Illinois in the amount of $541,689.07 for the Village of Homer Glen's portion of the construction costs related to the various additional improvements to the Illinois Departments of Transportation 159th Street Improvement Project? It is understood that these costs primarily include the construction of a 10-foot wide asphalt multi-use path, north side, and a 5-foot wide concrete sidewalk, south side, intersection street lighting, and emergency preemption devices. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Just so everyone does understand on this too, we were close to $1 million before Illinois put it out to bid. Right now, we were we're under 800,000, and it could be lower, could be a little bit higher. So we did save some money there, and we get the money from the bond. That's what the bond was issued for. Could you call roll?
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Tromke?
Aye.
Trustee Varian?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Sweets?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 15, bid proposal for streetlight maintenance.
14.
14. Yeah, special village board meeting regarding Caton Farm, Bruce Road project. Is there a motion to approve holding a special village board meeting at the city of Lockport, 222 East 9th Street, Lockport, Illinois, to discuss the Caton Farm, Bruce Road project on Wednesday, June 17th at 7 p.m. This is about the bridge.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion?
I just have a quick question, Manager Davis. Lockport City Hall, is that similar in size to what we have?
I think it might be a little bit smaller. It's, the mayor of Lockport was able to attend the joint meeting, the first, meeting that the county had held on this for quite some time. And he spoke first, and he volunteered to host the meeting. And so deferring to his immediate offer to volunteer. So this will be a joint meeting between you and the city of Lockport. I don't know if you've ever done that. Maybe you have, I'm not certain. But also the township will be there also. I think both Homer Township and Lockport Township also. So
It's going to be tight.
get there early. It might be a little tight. But they volunteered and they wanted to host it, so we deferred to them.
Okay.
Any other questions? Mr. Schulman's right out in the audience, if you have any questions on this. Okay. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Sweets?
Aye.
Trustee Tromke?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Varian?
Aye.
Motion carries. The village will be there for you. Ms. Margaret Sable will be there. I'm sure some of the trustees will be up there. I will be there. And I'm sure Cam will be there.
I plan to be there.
So we plan on helping you out because it is ridiculous that they're spending that kind of money when there's so much wasted here.
I think it's small.
Number 16, we have already done.
15?
So is number 15.
15.
Oh, you know
He wants
what?
to get to the Hawks game.
That's not over.
Bid proposal for streetlight maintenance, probably because I circled it because I already read it. Okay, is there a motion to approve the proposal from Lyons and Pinner Electric Companies for the removal and replacement of a damaged existing concrete streetlight with a new aluminum streetlight on Oakview Court in the amount of $3,595. It is understood that the existing concrete light pole has been removed as it was a safety hazard due to deterioration of the concrete pole. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just have a quick question. Is that a Cobra head fully shielded?
Typically it should be a Cobra head type light, but it's going to be full cutoff and 70 watt high pressure sodium as required by the village's lighting ordinance.
Okay. Well, I was just saying, like, if there's changes like that, maybe, I talked to you this afternoon, but I think it would be helpful to have this company include maybe a little diagram or picture of it to make sure it
It'll be
is what we need. Okay.
It should be to match the standard other aluminum poles in the village, so.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions or
Could our
discussion?
approval be contingent upon them, I know you're saying it should be, could it be contingent upon it being contiguous with or in conformance with the others? I mean, we'd have one light pole that looks different than the rest. I mean, I know you're saying it should be, so it better be.
Well, some of those poles in that subdivision are concrete, some of them are aluminum, so there's kind of a mixture in that same subdivision already.
You're talking about the head, though. You want to make sure that
The fixture.
The fixture is
The fixture.
in conformance.
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly
Yeah,
make,
that's, if you want to add that to the motion, that'd be appropriate.
Okay. So the vote is going to be with what Beth added on that
Be consistent,
conforms.
has to be consistent.
Right. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Trikey?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Barrion?
Aye.
Okay, now number 16's been done. So, is there any old business?
I have some old business. For the next meeting, I would like to add the bond issue, clarification on the bond issue, usage under legislation items, if we can do that.
Okay, could I have a little bit more information about that, so just so I can prepare something?
This would be clarification on what the bond issue can be used for.
Okay, I know, just so you know, that's scheduled on Heather's board for ANF for SOP number 1 and number 2, which remember we kind of tabled back a couple months ago. Now we're taking it back to ANF, and so it'll come back before the village board probably the first meeting in July. Is that okay if we just take it through the committee that way, or? That's SOP number 1 and 2, which specifically lists what the different uses for the different funds are. That's got to go back to the committee and then back
It goes to
the
ANF
board.
first and
Right.
then to Joe.
Right, is that okay?
Well, then, why can't they come,
Well, if it comes to the next meeting, then it'll be before the next ANF, but you can.
No, I'm talking about the end of June meeting.
Oh, yeah. Then
Okay.
that's when it would come.
Yeah, well, we'll have ANF and then the
Right.
June 24th, I think that meeting
Very good.
is.
That's the
All right,
plan.
for June
Yeah.
24th.
Very good. Thank you.
Is there anything else?
Was Director Sawyer's going to?
Yes, I have an update on IMET. There's been some articles in the Trib over the past few months. One of the residents requested an update on IMET, so I have a past to present scenario from IMET. IMET is the Illinois Metropolitan Investment Fund. It was formed as a nonprofit under the Illinois Municipal Code in July of 1996 as a cooperative endeavor to assist Illinois public entities with their investment dollars. It currently serves 284 municipal and related government bodies. The village has been an IMET member since 2010. The IMET Convenience Fund is a short-term money market instrument collateralized via FDIC insurance, the Federal Home Loan Bank LOC program, and government securities at 110% of bank deposits. IMET supporters are the DePage Mayors and Managers Conference, the Illinois Government Finance Officers Association, the Illinois Municipal League, the Northwest Municipal Conference, the South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association, and the Will County Government League. In September 2014, IMET became aware that one of its investments, a federal farm loan purchased through a repurchase agreement, had gone in default. IMET requested recovery from the U.S. Department of Agriculture for the default. The USDA denied recovery because it did not have any record of the loan. The loan in default represented approximately 2.7% of IMET investments. The loan in default was issued by First Farmers Financial Bank, an approved lender in the USDA's federal loan program. The loan documents had forged signatures of the USDA's loan officers, at which time IMET immediately began criminal proceedings against the First Farmers Financial Bank CEO. The individual admitted to fraud and has been cooperating with the authorities. In the fourth quarter of 2014, IMET reserved 2.7% of each IMET member's account balance in a liquidating trust. IMET sold all other investments in the Federal Farm Loan Program and amended its policy to exclude future investments. In the fourth quarter of 2014, the Village of Homer Glen had $837,000 of its account balance transferred into a newly formed liquidating trust. As of today, IMET has returned approximately 5% of the stolen funds to the village. The monies were derived from liquidating the CEO of the bank's personal assets, boats, cars, jewelry, etc. IMET anticipates recovery of another 60 to 70% of the stolen funds through auction of real estate holdings. IMET has a contract on one of the commercial pieces and is also seeking to liquidate two other luxury residences. In mid-July, IMET will auction off 5 hotels previously owned by the CEO. IMET hired a company named HCRE to market the hotels worldwide through auction.com. Prospective buyers are currently able to perform their due diligence and also be vetted to allow for an expeditious closing. The remaining recoveries will come from insurance and litigation. IMET has filed a claim with insurance companies for its $5 million fidelity bond. The bond includes coverage for fraud from forgery. IMET has filed a claim against Pennant Management Insurance Company for a $30 million fidelity bond. Pennant Management was the financial advisor or broker on the transaction. IMET continues to seek recovery through an ongoing lawsuit with the USDA. The USDA statutes cover losses from lender fraud and forgery. First Farmers Financial Bank was an approved lender under the USDA's loan program. Future recoveries. IMET's law firm has 200 subpoenas out to First Farmer Financial Bank businesses and personal contacts to claw back some of the funds that were part of the fraud case. Currently, IMET's portfolio is comprised of approximately 450 CDs with balances below the $250,000 FDIC limit. It also includes federal treasuries and an insured money market account. It's very conservative with a low-risk portfolio offering above-average rates with full liquidity. As stated by the IMET Executive Director, based on the active recovery process and through liquidation of seized assets and pending litigation, IMET anticipates significant recovery. Any questions? I will provide a copy of this report and all the FAQs available through IMET.
So we have provided several updates about this to previous village board since it occurred. A lot of the newspaper reports refer to this as a loss, and of course it is not a loss. There's a recovery occurring. We won't fully know until the end of the recovery if there is a loss. But this is criminal activity.
Well,
and it's not the, IMET has been a very respected organization for many years. A majority of the suburban communities in this area have been a member of IMET, and it's worked fantastic up until this occurred. And we have faith that they'll recover absolutely as much as they can, but we should not refer to it as a loss until the recovery process is ended, and it might take quite a bit of time for the recovery process to
A simple kind of reconciliation to date would be that we've received 5%. Their IMET's fidelity bond of $5 million represents another 10%. If they recover 65% from the sale of the hotels and the other properties, now we're up to 80%. You still have the other $30 million fidelity bond. You still have the case with the USDA. So it's going to be, it's following suit correctly because all this stuff would get subrogated anyway by the insurance companies. So I believe their statement to be accurate, substantial recovery, just based on that simple reconciliation. And hopefully USDA resolves the balance at the end.
We'll provide regular ongoing updates as we get them from IMET.
Okay.
And the Hawks are ahead. Oh, I'm sorry.
Any questions? Any other discussion? Okay. Is there any new business? I have one. I would like on the next agenda to discuss term limits for the mayor. So if we could please put that on there.
Okay. Would you like that under new business as a workshop item for discussion?
Yeah, that's fine.
Workshop? Okay, very good.
That's fine. Any other new business? And I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, meeting adjourned.